When your digital world is under attack, every single second counts. It's an absolute race against the clock, a fight for control. So today, we're going to break down the playbook that can turn a full-blown cyber crisis into something you can actually manage. We're talking about how to get from chaos to control.
So just picture it for a second. Your business is humming along, everything's totally normal, and then, boom, it happens. An alert flashes. You can't access your data. What's that very first feeling? What is the immediate state of your organization?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like a digital firestorm. Panic starts to set in, people are scrambling all over the place, and every decision feels like a wild guess. And you know what? Without a plan, this is the reality for most businesses. But it really doesn't have to be this way.
There is, believe it or not, a way to find some calm in that storm. It's a structured, methodical approach that replaces all that panic with a clear process. And that is the world of incident response.
Now, the key word here is organized. Incident response, or IR as you'll hear it called, isn't about hoping some tech hero swoops in to save the day. Nope, it's a company-wide strategy, a step-by-step process to manage the breach, keep the damage to a minimum, and get things back up and running as fast as humanly possible. And if incident response is the overall strategy, then the incident response plan, the IRP, that's your playbook. Seriously, think of it like a fire drill. You don't start figuring out the escape route when the building's already on fire, right? You practice it beforehand. The IRP is exactly that, but for a cyber attack. It lays out who does what, when they do it, and precisely how.
So what does this cyber fire drill actually look like in practice? Well, it's usually broken down into 6 distinct phases. It's a life cycle, really, that takes you from getting ready all the way to analyzing what went wrong after the fact. Okay, so it all kicks off with preparation. This is about getting your tools, your team, and your training locked in before an attack even thinks about happening. Next up is detection and analysis, which is just what it sounds like. You spot the breach and you figure out how bad it is. From there, you jump into containment. This step is absolutely crucial. You have to isolate the problem to stop it from spreading, because if you fail here, the damage just multiplies by the second. Once it's contained, the goal is eradication, getting that threat completely out of your network. Then comes recovery, where you bring your systems back online from clean, trusted backups. And finally, you've got the step that so many people skip, but it's maybe the most important for the future: lessons learned. This is where you do a deep dive. You analyze what happened, why it happened, and how you can make your defenses even stronger so, it doesn't happen again.
All right, that all sounds great in theory, but let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. We're going to look at a ransomware attack on a company. We'll just call them Company XYZ and see how their incident response plan made all the difference.
So, the stakes here could not have been higher. 1 minute, they're a fully functioning business. The next, their critical files are held hostage, their operations are completely dead in the water, and there's a huge ransom demand staring them in the face. But because they had a plan, the outcome was just dramatically different. Operations restored, data back, and not a single penny paid to the attackers.
Just look at this timeline. This shows you the power of that lifecycle in action. Within the very first hour, they were already in the detection and containment phases, stopping that attack dead in its tracks. By hour 12, they'd moved on to eradication, completely wiping out the malware. And because their preparation phase included having clean, tested backups ready to go, they started the recovery process within a single day. The result, they were fully back in business in just 48 hours. I mean, that is what control in the face of chaos looks like.
This is the goal. This is what a well-executed plan gets you. It turns what could be a company-ending disaster into a manageable 2-day problem. That right there is the return on investment for being prepared.
So you're probably asking, how does an organization get to be like Company XYZ? How do you actually build that shield before the battle even starts? Well, it all begins with formalizing your approach.
And here's the good news. You are not inventing this from scratch. Cybersecurity experts have spent years, literally years, developing and refining these best practices. There are established roadmaps out there that you can follow.
So, where do you start? You can lean on frameworks from organizations you can trust. For instance, here are 2 of the most respected ones. One from NIST, that's the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, and another from the SANS Institute, which is a huge cybersecurity training organization. Now, if you look closely, they both follow the same core logic we've been talking about. They start with preparation, and they end with learning. The main difference, really, is that SANS breaks out containment, eradication, and recovery into their own separate steps, while NIST kind of groups them together. but the fundamental process, it's identical. And that shows you there's a clear industry consensus on what works.
Of course, not every company has a full-time team of cybersecurity experts just sitting around, and that's okay. That's where specialized services come into play. You can bring in pros for everything from 24/7 monitoring to deep forensic analysis, or even just managing crisis communications. The trick is knowing where your team's skills end and where you need to call in for some expert help.
So, the crucial point in all of this is pretty simple. Surviving a cyber attack isn't about getting lucky. It's about having a deliberate, documented, and practiced strategy. It's about building your defenses and your response plan long before you ever need them.
And trust me, you will need them. In today's world, that old saying has never been more true. It's not a question of if your organization will face an attack. It's a question of when.
Which really just leaves us with one final critical question to think about. When you look at your own plans, your own team, and your own defenses, how prepared are you for that when?